Prose podcast. My name is Haley Camarillo, author of Fury and Flame, book one of the Witching Hour series that is out this September. Today I have with me the lovely Clare Kae. I am sorry. How are you
All
today?
good. I'm very well, thank you. It's a Saturday, a beautiful Saturday down here in very cold Tasmania. So I'm doing very well, thank you. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. It is definitely not cold up here in California, but it is a little bit cooler today than it has been all week, so that is always nice.
Excellent.
So you are the amazing author of one of my favorite series. Book one is Daughter of Dreams and Dread. Book two is Daughter of Starlight and Shadow. And I am so excited to talk more about that today. So can you tell us a little bit about your series?
My series, okay, so Daughter of Dreams and Dread came to me, and I think I'm noticing a lot of people saying this these days, so it's probably cliche at this point, but it came to me in a dream. I was the main character, of course, of this dream. You're always the hero of your own story, but Estelle sort of grew out of that. Growing up, I always fantasized about stories. I love stories. I love playing games with stories, love obviously reading books with stories. So I was constantly fantasizing about new worlds and creating my own world, I guess as a form of escapism at some point, but just for fun. It just came to me that way. And in university, I eventually just started writing some stuff down. The dream that I had about the Dodad world, so Kiliac, and I just kept envisioning more scenes and more things to go into Kiliac. And Estelle grew as a character, and just jotting down all these scenes and all these chapters that eventually turned into a book. And so it really was just a bit of a hobby coming into a bit of a passion. I found that I really enjoyed writing stories. And so Dodad is my first book. It was my debut published book. That's been out now for 2 years. And unfortunately, I was supposed to have her sequel done at this point, but life got in the way. I moved states from where I lived in Queensland down to Tasmania, and my real world job became very stressful and very time consuming. So I have not been able to get to that sequel, but it is in the back burner. I am writing it, and yeah, we'll see how we go.
Oh, well, it's totally understandable life getting in the way, honestly. I am so glad to hear that you are back at writing it. I am so excited. For those of you who don't know, Claire and I are CPs, critique partners, and it has been the most amazing journey being able to
Oh, it
watch your
really
story unfold together.
has. The
I
best decision of my life, commenting on this post, asking you to read my book,
uh,
was literally the best decision.
I'm so glad that you ended up responding to me, and I was so glad that I was up late enough that day to see that post, because that usually I think it was like around midnight for me. And
Yep.
I just happened to be up. I was pregnant and I had insomnia, and I saw it and I was like, I want to read this. So it was the best decision I made to comment on that post.
Oh, serendipity,
It
honestly.
was. So you did say that dream so Dodad, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
Started
It's a
off
mouthful. I'm so sorry. I've
on-
very gone the cliche route. Something of something and something. I'm so sorry.
No, oh my gosh, do not apologize at all. I absolutely love the name. So you already said that was inspired by a dream. So what about, let's talk about Starlight and Shadows. What how did that come to you?
Starlight and Shadow, I mean, it was a continuation of the story I already had, I guess. Dodad, I had to end it. I wanted to have some of the sequences and the chapters and the scenes from Dosas, Daughter of Starlight and Shadow, in Dodad, but it just became too long, too much. so Dosas went in the back burner in regards to all the chapters and the scenes that I'd written for the end of Dodad. They kind of just got jumbled up and put in another folder. And I have slowly but surely been able to sequence them into a plot in Dosas. And yeah, so I guess long story short, Dodad in my head was going to be much longer and much more in depth and have a few different things going. But yeah, I really need to flesh out another book because Dodad just became very long in the end.
I totally understand that. That I love that it's getting its own book though, instead of being, having to share it with Dodad. I think that that's the great decision. Um, so can you tell us a little bit about your writing journey? What kind of led you to deciding that you wanted to self-publish instead of query for traditional publishing?
Traditional publishing scared the daylights out of me. Obviously, I guess getting into writing, you always think that's the only route you have, the only way you can be successful. And I guess it obviously pros and cons both ways. But funnily enough, the actual instigator to me self-publishing was that I couldn't choose my own cover. And I was like, well, to hell with this. I would love to choose my own cover. And my mother, who's a brilliant artist, had already created art for my cover. And she'd done a drawing for me. And when I sort of saw that traditional publishers, that they usually more often than not don't let you go with your own cover, I took my mother's drawing and I went on and found a freelance cover artist, and I sent that cover artist my mother's artwork, and she made it into this beautiful book cover. And I guess that just I guess that just really solidified it for me. I was like, yep, I'm doing this now. So this is the path that I've started. This is the path that I will walk down. And yeah, ended up self-publishing that way. It was a lot of fun. I learned a lot, but it was a very cool, stressful but very cool journey. Yeah.
That is amazing, and I love it. It's part of what really honestly inspired me wanting to self-publish, so thank you for
Oh,
that.
excellent.
Okay, so I know this, but if you would mind telling the readers, what is the spice level in Dodad and Dosas?
The spice level is quite high, I would say. It is definitely not a fade to black. Um, whilst reading young adult books, obviously you get that fade to black thing, but I was always kind of like on the edge of my seat going, no, 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 give me more, I want to see more. And so, yeah, I just always, when I was writing Dodad, always had those scenes between my characters because I very much liked romance in my books. I, I love it and I love reading it. And it just adds a different aspect to the romance, I guess. And yes, so it is quite spicy. I have been told that it is quite nice. So
It is very
yeah,
well
so I think Dodad definitely has some spicy scenes, and Dosas will have the same.
done. Okay,
Yeah.
very excited for that. Excited. Okay, so what is your writing process like? Are you more plotter, pantser, character driven, plot driven?
Pantster all the way. I have tried so many times, tried and failed to create sequenced plots that I know I need to go with, but it just does not work for me. I'm definitely the type of writer that needs to write what comes to them. My writing process is a lot of me walking or laying in bed, usually with music, and coming up with scenes for my book, for my story. And the scenes that come to me, I guess it comes like it's a movie scene, and I play it out in my head, and I might play that song a couple of times and replay it until I nail what's being said in the scene, what the dialogue is, and what all the action beats are. And then I take that idea that I've had and I sit down and I write it. So it's very much, it comes to me and I write it. In terms of character driven or plot driven, I guess it is character driven. it's like, what would they do next? What are they going to say next? And yeah, I guess they, or Stell, definitely the heroine of my story, definitely carries the story forward. And um, the antagonist of Dodad, his name is Tyrant. He definitely led a lot of the darker things that happened in the second half of Dodad. So yeah, I believe I am very character driven as well.
Yes, I would definitely agree with that. Especially being that Taryn is one of my favorite characters, even though he is the villain.
Oh no, the poor thing. He's just, he can't help but be antagonistic.
He's just got such a tragic backstory, and I'm so excited for this book. I'm so excited that we're going to have more of him and learning more about that just tragic past that he has and learning how he has to deal with that. I'm so excited for him and Rose.
Yes, the journey between him and Rose is going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to be really hard to write, and I noticed at the very end of Dodad, the epilogue that I wrote, writing very, very dark themes made me, I guess, uncomfortable is the word I would choose. So it took a few tries for me to be able to sit down and write that properly. But Dosas is going to have a hell of a lot more of it. So I need to get over it, basically.
Yeah, but it's good. I think that us feeling uncomfortable as readers can be a good thing, having to like work through emotions that we aren't normally feeling. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I think that that is
Yeah.
going to be really good. I'm very excited for that. So with writing Dodad, what were your biggest struggles with it? The writing process.
I would say trying to make sure there were no plot holes was the biggest struggle. I certainly remember chapter one being an incredible struggle for me. I wanted to nail my chapter one. I wanted to make sure it was something really interesting that would hook readers in. And I think I've sent you about 10 drafts of chapter one, all written different ways, and for you not knowing what was going on in my head.
No, I
But
absolutely loved it. And every
yeah,
time I remember you would send me like a new one every time, and I was like, I love every single one of them. Like, I don't know, like I felt so bad because I was like, but I love this one, but I do love this one, but I love this one. So, but I ended up loving the way that you started it out. It was amazing,
uh,
brilliantly done.
thank you so much. I had a lot of help from CPs and people around me, basically pointing me in the right direction. No, no, no. Don't go this way. I think it's really important that you add this in, and too much, too much. Oh gosh, what is the quote? Too much telling and not showing. So that whole show not tell business, and yeah, but definitely listening to my own gut as well and what direction to go went a long way too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's always the biggest thing is listen to your
yeah,
gut because it's your story at the
absolutely,
end of the day.
exactly correct.
Okay, so we kind of already talked about this. So okay, so where are you at in the DOSAS process? Sorry.
No, no, all
Can't
good.
figure out my acronyms.
In the process process, I am in probably about a third of the way through the story, I believe. Like I mentioned before, work down here has been a little bit stressful, very time consuming, and I am not a night owl. I cannot stay. My brain, I don't think, functions past 7 p.m. I don't know what's wrong with me, but it just doesn't function. So I'm watching a movie and then I'm going to bed. So 4 a.m. is when I wake up. I am definitely an early bird, and 4 a.m. is when I get my writing time in. So I try to do it before I go to work, and so just chipping away at it a couple of hours at a time, I guess. And I have a wonderful friend who meets with me once a week, and we do writing sprints together. And so that definitely is a massive motivation
Good.
to
I'm
keep
glad.
moving
They're a massive motivation for me as well.
forward.
So do you have a favorite quote? And I have a feeling that I probably know what it is, but I would like to hear what yours what you think it is.
My favourite quote is a recurring one through Dodad that Estelle, it's like her mantra that she needs to keep going. So she falls down, she needs to say this quote. She almost gets killed, she needs to say this quote. Somebody very close to her, spoiler alert, does get killed. She needs this quote to pick her back up again. And so it's close your eyes and think of something nice. It is something that she remembers very well her mother used to say to her. For those of you that don't know, in Daughter Dreams and Dread, it is a portal fantasy. So Estelle has woken up in this new world, very brutal, very savage. And it's one of the last memories, I guess, she has of her mother saying this to her. So it's just the mantra that she needs to keep going. Yeah, was that the one you were going to say?
Yes.
There's another one. Sorry, you go.
No, absolutely, you go ahead.
There's another one that one of my supporting characters says to her in a bit of a moment of crisis, and it is having a soft heart in a hard world is courage, not weakness. And it's definitely what she needed to hear in that time that she was falling apart.
I love that. I loved both of those quotes. I remember the first time that I read Close Your Eyes and Think of Something Nice. I was like, oh, this is so perfect. I'm very glad that I was right with that one. And Tor's quote is amazing as well.
Yes, he was definitely a great character.
So I think that we are just about done. Again, I am so happy to have had you on the show today. I've been waiting forever to be able to interview you, and I'm so glad that we've been able to make time to do it.
Absolutely. I'm so happy you invited me on. Thank you so much.
Of course. And you guys, you can follow Claire on Instagram and on Facebook. It's at Clare Kae.
Yeah.
For Instagram. Yeah.
Yep, and Claire is spelled a very dodgy way. I'm very sorry to everybody. It is Clare. There's no I. I'm not French. It's what I'm going to say to everybody. They always put an I in my name.
Don't worry, I totally get that. So yes, I will put a link in the video for anybody who wants to check her out if you haven't already. And happy writing. I am so excited for you to be writing Dosas again. And yes, I can't wait to see what you come up with.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Of course. And thank you guys for watching the Witches and Prose podcast. We'll see you soon.
Bye.